Okay, so it's Tuesday, 17th of March. This is a bit different to the videos that I had planned to start making. Planned to kind of get really into doing sort of YouTube stuff, business, tutorial. The coronavirus thing is obviously starting to affect everyone's businesses. All I'm seeing is people very concerned, worried about what's going to happen, how it's going to affect them. There's lots of people talking about, particularly in the wedding industry, lots of people talking about people cancelling the weddings, postponing the weddings. Obviously, we're a wedding business too, and we do photography and videography, and we've already been contacted by quite a few of our couples. So the thing is, right, I spent a lot of my life before I came into doing wedding photography and videography in a field. I was in the police, and basically it was all about problem solving. It was all about making decisions on the fly, dealing with the circumstances in front of you, and making it work. Basically, that's all the emergency services ever do, is make stuff work. So rather than panicking, I thought I'd do this, show you how we're going to try and deal with things. I'm just being contacted by another client, because we need to talk to our clients, we need to contact people, we need to make some decisions, we need to look at the options. There's no point in panicking about it, because you will not be able to do anything. You can't control the external situation. So if people are going to postpone and cancel their weddings, there's very little you can do about it, and that might completely, pardon my French, fuck your business up. So you have to try and deal with the things that you can control, okay? So my wife's come in, she's been to college because we're both university students as well. That's getting all messed up. So she's gone to college this morning because she wanted to get some books out from the library before they shut that down. We've got final projects to finish, final dissertations to finish and stuff. We've worked really hard to get a university degree. That might go to shit too. So she's gone there to do that. She's then coming here, and we're going to work through this. So I'm waiting for her to come. What I've done is I've written down what we're going to work through from ground zero. Let's call this ground zero. Operational plan. So our insurance, our contracts, our cash reserves, liabilities, what financial liabilities, how much money have we got to pay out in the next 6 months, cash flow, what money have we got in the bank and what money have we got coming in the next 6 months, clients, all the clients, who are these clients from now until September, how can we reduce liabilities, so payment breaks, holidays, things like that, other income streams, how else can we generate income. We've talked about even going and getting part-time jobs, short term, something we were just talking about last night. What do we need to do? We need to communicate with clients, we need to communicate with the landlord. We've got a business premises, we have to pay rent on this, we have to pay out for bills, broadband, electricity, all that sort of thing. We need to look at how we can reduce outgoings, subscriptions, things like that if we need to. So, can you see what I've done there? I haven't panicked. I'm going into problem solving mode. And the reason I'm making this video isn't to be patronising to people who don't think like this, but it's just that I know that not everybody does this, and not everyone has got, this isn't their way. Their way is to stress and fret over it. And don't get me wrong, it's a great concern. We've worked really hard over the last few years to build up a business. Prior to that, we worked in the police, and would have got paid whatever. They never not pay you wages in the police. It's job security. Becoming self-employed there is no security, and this sort of thing happens very rarely. It's probably never happened in our generation. You know, last time stuff like this happened, I mean, we've lived through recessions with everything, it won't have been this bad. Just because cancelling things doesn't normally happen. In war times, shit gets cancelled, right? But there's no point panicking, because you cannot control those things. What you can control is the things that, these are the things that you can work with. So now let's work through it. Okay, so at the moment what I'm doing is I'm going right up to September. So obviously the next 3 months are pretty much the most up in the air.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth looking at the whole 6 months and contacting all of those people. Beyond that, after 6 months, I don't think we should maybe send something to them saying if you've got any kind of concerns, please contact us. But at the moment, we're just looking at the next 3 to 6 months, because that they look like, we would hope in 6 months' time everything's sorted itself out. In terms of, you know, mass restrictions like what, you know, we're looking at the moment.
So are we going to do some? Are we going to film something?
Is they confirmed that? Is this?
When that's the date she was working to. She said the venue have offered that date, and she'll, by the end of the day today, she just had to finish ringing some suppliers. Right. But she said everyone so far. You just said. I've just said we can do it, but it'll just be one of us and another person that we will source from this.
So looking at that one's on the 15th.
That one's on the 15th.
So, yeah, right.
And that's at Bagdon Hall.
Yeah.
I've met them, went to meet them, so I'm happy to go do that.
Yeah. Right, sorry. So what we're going to do is, we're going to go through this. We're just going to look at the financial implications first. So what I've looked at is, we need to look for the insurance. I'm going to ask my mum to look through that properly. So can you send this on to my mum? I've had a glimpse at it. There is like some business interruption insurance, but it's not very clear what it covers and how you can, you know, at what point you would put that into place, because it's not like we're ill or anything, right? And
at the minute, I think a big sticking point is the fact that
nobody's actually, the government's not said,
because the government's not declared the lockdown, and it's basically put the onus on individuals
to make their own
decisions. So that puts us in a difficult position at the minute.
So like, we'll ask my mum to go through the insurance, because she's kind of good at reading stuff like that, and it's just something that we ain't really got the time to do. So if you can send that to my mum. In terms of the contracts, we need to look through the contract. I know that like we've got payment schedule thing of like, this is how much is due at different times. Obviously, if we're not going to be able to provide the services there, I don't know where that leaves us. Now,
when you say if we're not going to be able to provide
because if they don't have the wedding, the service doesn't take place.
Oh, right, sorry. So not the.
It's not us saying we can't do the service. It's just that if we don't end up giving them the service, you know. Right. So just in really simple terms, so I've put insurance in our contracts. So I know our contracts aren't like going to cover this eventuality, and cash reserves, liabilities, cash flow. So these are the things. So the important thing is we communicate with the clients, but how that goes is going to affect these things. So like the cash flow and everything. So what I'm thinking is, we don't want to be in a position, we can't be giving people deposits back, even though they aren't that big. We can't be giving the deposits back, because it does say it's non-refundable. We have already done preparatory work for their wedding. So that has to be, we're not going to talk about that deposit in any communication we do, because unless they cancel their wedding and they say, can we have a deposit back, I don't think we should start planting that seed.
No.
But obviously we have already done preparatory work for that. I don't know legally where we'd stand, but I'm thinking of it more as that's kind of where we've got to be. In terms of the balance, if we can get people to pay their balance and just move the wedding, that's going to mean that we can still continue and nothing needs to change. We're just going to have to flex and be very kind of like cool about when these weddings, we might end up with like 14 weddings in 14 days. I mean, it's not going to be like that, but you know what I mean? We could end up with like all the weddings wedged into a month or something, or a couple of months. I think we're just going to have to live with that if that's what's going to have to happen. But we just need to try and encourage people to still pay when they agree to pay. Because it's that, if everybody delays their payments, that's when it's going to screw us over. So
then how we articulate that properly to people, because if in their shoes we're one of a number of suppliers that they're going to have to deal with. They're looking at the whole picture of the wedding. They'll be thinking, well, we're looking at next year when the wedding's going to be, we don't want to take the risk of, because what if this gets worse over a longer period of time, or for whatever reason they could be thinking, well, no, we're not gonna, why would we pay you for the money now over a year in advance when we don't know yet what date we're secure, and what assurances have we got from you guys that you're gonna turn up on our day when we paid you all the money.
But like, we are, aren't we?
Well,
I know what you're saying.
We will,
so,
that's all I'm saying, to just articulate it in the right way, so that straight from the off, the moment we've asked the question, it's backed up by this is the assurance
so we need to
that you've got.
We need to work out what we're going to say.
Yeah.
So like this one, for instance, like Danny and Mel's, they've already paid all their balance anyway. They're going to move theirs to next year, right? They've not said anything about money.
Yeah.
And they chose to pay in instalments.
Yeah.
So the way I see it is that they're just happy that's going to be paid. They're just happy they're going to get another date. It's not going to cost them any more to have us on that date. You know, I mean, you could be crazy, and you could say, well, it's more that year because it's a year down the line. But I know we're not going to do that. But what I'm saying is that like there are some financial implications for people from other businesses. I imagine. Yeah. We obviously just want to. I just want to make sure that this cash flow stays more or less as it's supposed to be. Like they're moving their wedding there to the 15th, so that's like basically just under 2 months later. So there's no reason why they can't pay they'll be expecting to pay their deposit in June, so there's no reason why they can't still pay their deposit in their balance in June, even though the wedding's happening in August. As long as they do that, that's okay, because and if a couple of people for whatever reason need to move it, then we can probably be all right. But if every single person does, suddenly you've thousands and thousands of pounds down at you.
Yeah, and even in the event that we manage to get them to pay still this year or within the terms of the contract as it stands, we have to keep a careful eye on then next year how that's going to feel and how that's going to look when we're doing weddings
we've
already had the money for. So we'll already be thinking, we'd already moved to a place where we're thinking, okay, so we're getting closer to the point where we can set a comfortable limit on how many weddings we want to do, because we want to look at other revenue streams as well. So next year, that doesn't change. So we're still going to be thinking, okay, to get a comfortable amount of income, we still need to be looking at about 25, 30 weddings. Are we going to have another 20 on top of that we're not going to financially feel the benefit
from? So we end up doing 40 to 50
and
then
50 weddings.
And only getting paid for 25.
Yeah.
But then again, you could say, well, at least then, if we can't for the next few months do weddings because there aren't any, but we still get paid for them, right? We've got the money to keep the business going, and we can concentrate now on those other revenue streams that we talked about. That's the pragmatic way to run your business, is like in this time of stress and downturn, if you like, is to look at going in on what you can still go after.
Yeah.
Obviously, for anybody who's just going to do weddings, they haven't got that. We had planned to do other things, and so we can. This is the best time to do that, even though it won't be the best time in terms of there's not going to be loads and loads of businesses and loads of people looking for marketing, but there might be some. Let's do some promo work for a hand sanitizing company or something. Right, so this is what I'm thinking. Let's go through this. Let's map this out just so we know what the figures are. Yeah. Let's figure out what we need baseline to pay the bills, so that we can instantly see if everybody starts like moving or cancelling their wedding, they're not going to pay. Like what's the threshold of like we can still afford to pay the bills? We need to contact the landlord of this place. I spoke to Kirsty this morning, but she didn't have a definitive answer. She said she was waiting for answers from her.
Okay.
So I think we need to maybe send an email, just so that we know where we stand with that. I've even put on here, I've put like look at how to reduce liabilities with different stuff, and that might include if the subscriptions we pay for that aren't essential. I mean, we're only going to be saving a few quid here and there, but
but still.
But it's like in the next few months there'll be stuff like music licensing payments to make and stuff. Well, there's no point paying for shit like that if we don't need music licensing because we're not making anything. So we just got to look at all that. So I'll look at this.
I'll just send the insurance documents on to
my
your
mum,
mum, and I'll just look back at the we had that when we had that meeting, the notes that we had from that meeting, because that had some figures on about what we need month to month.
Yeah, so let you look at what we need month to month. I'll look at what we've got coming in. So you look at what we need, I'll look at what's coming in.
Okay.
And then we'll start to formulate what we're going to say to the clients, and we'll start communicating that.
Yeah.
We'll do a video, and we will do an email, and we'll link the video into the email.
Yeah.
Then we'll put, once we've sent it to the individual clients, we'll then put something out on
a general basis. Yeah. So then we need to. The thing that we'll put out on a general basis, is that just going to look to address people that have booked with us, and just on a wider scale we just want to offer reassurance of X, Y and Z, or is that
but also to people that were thinking there's people that were thinking there's people that are thinking of booking us. And to be fair, you know, if we let's say we aimed to get 2 bookings a month on average, you know, as a minimum, then those 2 bookings a month is, you know, paying. It brings in a little bit of cash, and the more cash we can bring in, the less there is a worry.
Yeah.
So for the last couple of hours we've been going through what we're going to do. We're just trying to come up with a list of what we're going to say in the video that we're going to do to send to all our wedding couples. Just put a really short email together. The idea is if we do a video to them, that's just how we prefer to do things. We don't like doing things by email. Prefer to like meet in person, which is probably the best thing right now, or do video calls, things like that. So we decided to do a video to talk to them, just because it'll be a bit more personal than writing a list of stuff in an email. We'll put the video in an email that's just basically saying this is our situation, this is our take on it, and you're all going to have slightly different plans, slightly different thoughts on how you're going to deal with it. So it's just welcoming them to contact us when they've got a good idea of what they're going to do. We've gone through a bit of an operational kind of like plan of what we're going to do. So spent some time going through all the clients for the next few months, what date their wedding is. So obviously we're in the middle of March, but most of our weddings don't really start until start of May, and then the majority of our weddings are in May, June and July. So that's of concern to us, because those 3 months are where most of our income is coming from this year, as it stands. Because we do video primarily, we do photo and other work as well, but because we would mainly do video, typically throughout the year we'll get I would say 30-40% of our bookings will happen within a few months of the wedding. So where we were in terms of our bookings was not where, like, we didn't have all the bookings that we were expecting for this year. So in a normal situation, we would have expected to receive inquiries throughout the year and got another 25 to 50% more jobs. But where we were at the moment was like we had the bare minimum of income that we required to sort of tick over for the year, and the other stuff would have been, you know, extra. Obviously if we don't get the bare minimum of stuff to tick over, then it's very difficult to keep the business going, because you need the cash flow, and most of that income was coming in May, June and July. So that's what we've been working out. when the dates are, how much is due on each date, and then we've been able to work out sort of how much expected income we would have had through each month and what we had to pay out each month. So that includes us paying ourselves to be able to pay our bills, to be able to buy food and things like that. Like as a bare minimum, what we would have drawn. We've got a limited company, so it's what we draw from the business. We have someone, my mum, that works for us, so we have to pay her a wage. We have other expenses that come out of the account, and we've got the studio to pay for. So it's considering those things, those expenses, how that matches up with the income, so we know we need to make this money still. We can't afford not for that money not to come in. And then in relation to the specific clients and what they're paying and when they're paying it, when their wedding is, and it's then basically there's a column for new date, so that if they contact us, which some have already contacted us to rearrange those, so there's 2 that have already rearranged, one to later on in this year and one to next year, and it's just basically what is that new date, and how A, we're going to fit that in, and B, how are we going to deal with the money. So are they still going to pay the money now and we just do the work later? That obviously would be better for us because it means we can carry on, but I don't know how we can insist that they do that. So it's more of a negotiation, and it requires a kind approach rather than we
don't want to go down the route of waving a contract in people's faces and saying, well, the terms and conditions state, and that's not how we are as people. That's not how we've approached this business at any point, and just in light of something that's happening in the world, it's certainly not the way that we wish to continue. We certainly want to come up from a place of reassurance for people and kindness, because I know if we were in that position, that's certainly what I'd be hoping for.
And it's what we would people respond better to honesty, empathy and understanding and kindness. So explaining your situation, trying to do everything in your power to help them, they're more likely to help you. This is something from the police days, getting people think that the police just kind of like bark orders and tell people what to do. A lot of the time it isn't like that. A lot of the time it's about negotiating. A lot of the time it's about kind of like not manipulating, but like getting people to do what you want them to do, even though they don't want to do it. Because you can't, like, I come up against someone who's twice my size and twice my strength. I'm gonna lose if I just go in with a enforcement attitude. It's it was all about resolving problems. It was about like being able to communicate and being able to show empathy. So you just got to like approach it the same way, and let's see where it goes. So that's what we've been doing for the past few hours. We're just trying to work all this stuff out. Got some actions, so we can contact the clients. So dealing with these sorts of problems, you need to have some actions, you need to have some contingencies. So actions wise, we're going to contact the clients, we're looking at the income and expenditure. We're going to check all the subscriptions that we pay, turn off any auto renews for stuff that we don't need to be paying for. Let's not pay for it right now. I mean, that includes like personal stuff like gym memberships, things like that. We're going to have to see what we can do without for a bit. Anything like non-essential. Contacting the landlord about studio rent, looking at other revenue streams, contacting the insurance company. So contingency is sort of like looking at the rent on the studio, stuff like bill and mortgage repayment, holidays. There's in the budget the other day they announced some government schemes for like small businesses, rates relief and like grants that were available, so we need to look at that. you know, you've even got to like think about a business loan. If you want your business to survive, the automatic thing might be to like scale back and to like think, right, I'm just gonna have to cut everything down, tighten my belts. But you know, that might not be the best or only way. That it might actually be a good time to invest in the business, to just actually bridge the gap,
coming out the other side of this.
Yeah, bridge the gap and actually think bigger and more long term, and think, well, this has happened. This could happen again at some point. If we figure out a way to get through this, maybe you need to think about a bigger picture. We've been trying to think of how to scale this business for a while now, haven't we? Because we realise that it's all right. We've left these secure jobs. We're doing this, and it's good. But for us without us, this business would struggle. But you can't. There is no business without us. We don't really want that model on a long-term basis. We want to be able to run a business that
has resilience.
That's really got resilience. Yeah. And so, like, again, resilience in this situation. You know, if it comes down to it, we pool all the money from our personal, you know, pots, savings, and everything in our accounts and the business accounts. We just have to try and bridge the gap. You know, you might even end up, if you've got family that can loan you money, who knows? Might end up having to look at that. Might have to look at personal loans. Who knows? You know, nothing's off the table in these sorts of situations. But just because I've seen posts of people talking about, that's it, my business is, I'm done because all these people are cancelling. Yeah. Totally understand why you feel like that, but you've got to. If that's how it really feels to you, and you don't see a way out, then we can't. That's how it is. But
that's really sad.
It's really sad, but you can't. You've got to try
and just see beyond this. Yeah. Because it could be longer than any of us have sort of anticipated, and certainly the rate at which things have escalated, even just over the last sort of 4 or 5 days, I don't think anybody could have foreseen that. But you know, everybody's in unknown territory here, because nothing like this, not that I want to speak for everybody, but perhaps nothing like this has sort of happened previously for people running a small business. So yeah, just kind of being able to just take it into perspective in terms of this won't be forever. It perhaps will be for longer than any of us anticipated, but there will be. We'll all come out the other end of it. So.
But basically, you know, if you're in this situation where you're like, right, shit, how am I going to pay my bills? The thing is people don't get their houses repossessed straight away. People don't get their electricity cut off straight away. Do you know what I mean? It's very easy to like think shit, but there are processes for all these things. So you've got space, you've got time, and if there was ever a time where there are going to be things in place to help people and support people who are struggling financially, this will be it. Yeah. This is you know, the recession was completely different. Very different. Because that was based on like bigger businesses, like the government couldn't help everybody because it was all overstretched. Yeah. This is not about overstretching. This is about an unforeseen event. This is like a natural disaster. Yeah, that impacts people's livelihoods, not just in a work capacity or a financial capacity, but this is about people's health and well-being. Yeah, so the government have got to try to help because they've got to look after people. They have a responsibility to look after this country, all governments all around the world. They don't want everything to go to shit all in one go, because that would be particularly because it's been an upward climb from an economic perspective. It's been an uphill climb since 2008 for countries who have been trying to recover financially, and you know, certainly it has gone in the right direction for most people in that respect. And in the last few years, you know, look at the fact that we've been able to leave a career and start our own business. You know, this is the age of the entrepreneur, it's the age of innovation, it's the age of the SME growing
and building within our economy and inspiring the next generation to do a similar sort of thing. So the governments are behind that. They understand that, they see where that's going in the future, and this is a period of time that this is a wave that, you know, all of us together and the nation, the world, you know, it is, as ridiculous as that sounds, but that is something that we are all in together.
Yeah. And if you know, for us all, if we get through this, if we figure out how to get through this is for all of us, you know, your business is probably going to be stronger for it on the other side. So I totally understand the panic.
The business will be strong, but for you as individuals, for you as people to have been able to show the sort of resilience and the strength of character to be able to get through that, you know, will be remarkable. There's no question it's going to be really difficult. So if you happen to be one of the small businesses out there who are thinking, this is the end, you know, there's no way I'm recovering from this, perhaps I'd like to think there is a way. We're certainly not kind of throwing the towel in. We can't afford to.
We've talked about potentially going to get jobs.
Going to get a job.
So
yeah.
if we end up having to like find a part-time job temporarily to make sure that we can pay the bills, feed the kids, that's what we do. Because if, let's just say, crazy shit, all the weddings get postponed / cancelled over the next few months, well, for a start, we might struggle with the income, so we need to address that. But also, we're not going to have anything to do because, well, there's always stuff to do. But in terms of the work we were expecting to be doing, we're not going to be doing it. So it wouldn't make sense to just sit around and do nothing. So it's time to get proactive. That's why I see it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So deal with the stuff that's happening now, look into everything, cross the T's, dot the I's, look at your insurance, look at your contracts, speak to your clients, and then start to get proactive with it.
Hi guys, it's Lindsay and Jules from Your Story Studios. We're just getting in touch to send you a little video message just to say hi and just see how you're all doing. We know it's a very worrying time at the moment, so we hope that you and your family are all well. And really we just wanted to just sort of look to arranging a chat with you over the phone just to see where you're at, what your thoughts are about your plans for your wedding day, which is of course coming up very soon. So there's a reason that we haven't been in touch before now. Things have escalated quite a bit in the last few days, but really we were just holding on because we wanted to just make sure that we had a clear understanding of where things were heading, and so that when we did get the opportunity to chat with you, we wanted to make sure that what we said was very accurate. We can only imagine the worry and the panic that you're having if you are having to consider an alternative option for your wedding day this close to it. So Jules is going to talk to you in a moment about what will happen in the event that you need to rearrange your wedding date, or if you're wondering, well, with everything going on, what's going to happen if you two are not so well. So we'll discuss that with you now, because it's really important for us that you know that we are committed to being there for you on your day. We were really looking forward to it, but I'll let Jules just talk you through things now.
Okay. So I'll start with the kind of what happens if we're unwell, because there's always a chance, a very small chance, that a wedding supplier is going to be unwell, or there's going to be an emergency, which means that it would affect them being able to attend your wedding or provide whatever services that you are going to. Obviously venues and places like that, they've got lots of staff involved, there's lots of people that can cover, photographers, videographers, florists, people like that. They're usually smaller teams or one person teams. So obviously at any time someone could have an emergency or someone could get seriously ill. There's two of us, so to start with, one of us can attend a wedding if one of us is sick. Obviously both of us are sick. We've got, in any event, we've got networks of other photographers and videographers that we all help each other out. So there are lots of groups on Facebook. We remember like multiple different ones: emergency cover groups, local groups, national groups. And basically what happens is sometimes like someone's car might break down, someone gets poorly, etc, etc. Someone might have a family bereavement, and if there's a real serious reason why someone can't attend someone's wedding, there are lots and lots of people ready to step in. It's amazing. You put something out on those groups and it literally, like, you'll get multiple comments. We've never had to do it, we've just seen other people who've done it, and we've offered for other people, and the network is brilliant. So basically, if the worst happened and both of us were ill and we couldn't come, there would be somebody to come and fill in for us and come to your day, capture your wedding, whenever it is. And what happens is they would come, they would provide us with the footage or the photos, we would edit them. And so you would basically end up with pretty much the exact same thing, because it would be done in the same style.
It's still us
that are creating the story.
At the end of the day, yeah.
That is an outside potential. We're covering it because it's the right thing to do to talk about it, but it's very unlikely that would ever happen. We've never missed a wedding yet. We've never not been able to attend. So that's to reassure you on that front. Secondly, rearranging dates. So you should try to have the day that you intended to have. We want you to not compromise. We want you to have the day that you wanted. If there's going to be an issue with the venue being able to allow you to do that, or there's an issue with like your guests being able to attend, people being able to travel, then obviously you might be considering moving the wedding to a different date. If that happens, we will do everything in our power to be able to accommodate you. So if we had a wedding already booked on a date that you wanted to move it to, it is more than likely that we could split up and still cover your wedding, because we've done weddings before, 2 on one day, where Lindsay's done one and I've done one. So we can do that. We also have other people that work with us on a regular basis, so if you needed 2 people to cover your day and we already had a wedding, there is the chance that we could get somebody to come with us to basically provide exactly the same coverage. Most of it's highly likely, especially if you choose a weekday, because a lot of the weekend days might be booked up, certainly for this year. So if you choose a weekday, we're usually free on weekdays anyway. It's the Friday and Saturdays that we've usually got weddings on. Just mentioning that because it is relevant to considering your plans. But the bottom line is we'll do everything we can to be able to still capture your day, and we want you to be reassured of that. Yeah. In relation to money, so we have to talk about money, because you'll be concerned about, this costing you money, losing money, not particularly with those, but your entire wedding costs so much, and then you're gonna have to rearrange different things. There might be some financial implications of that. For us, there's not going to be extra charges or anything like that. Whatever we've agreed is what we've agreed. If we move the date, we move the date. What we would ask is that, if possible, if you can still pay your balance, if you've planned to pay your balance to us on a certain date, so let's say your wedding was in May and you have to move it to another date later in the year, we would ask, if you can and you've planned to and you're able to pay us the balance still in May, and we do the wedding later in the year, we would ask that you do that. And the reason being is that, like many wedding businesses, we're a small business and our cash flow works throughout the year. So we're sat here, we've got a studio premises, we've got overheads that we have to pay, we don't have another job, this is our livelihood, this is both of our incomes, this is our only income. So in order to be able to continue doing this for a living and paying our bills, we're relying on that cash flow throughout the year. So when people are due to pay their balance and we're doing that work for them, we're relying on that money to then be able to pay the bills as we go through the year. Obviously, if everybody starts changing a wedding and doesn't pay, that's going to it's going to impact how we can run our business and how we can like survive, basically. Obviously, if there's a reason that you wouldn't be able to pay the balance, we'd love to kind of chat through the options with you. You know, ways that we can work with you to kind of like manage it for both of us. But it's important that we bring it up because from our perspective, we just want to be able to carry on capturing people's weddings, and we want people to still have amazing wedding days, but we need to think about keeping the business going.
Feeding the kids.
And feeding the kids. So, we wanted to do this video rather than just put it in an email because we wanted to be more personal. There are a few other things you might want to, if you've got wedding insurance, you might want to look into the wedding insurance just to see what it covers, and then let us know about that if you're considering cancelling the wedding or something like that. You know, there's a way that we'd need to handle that.
But I think bottom line, the most important thing for us was to just sort of reach out to you, set up a call to have with you so that we can speak on an individual basis.
Everyone's individual circumstances are different.
Yeah, and just don't panic. We just want to reassure you, you know, you may have quite a number of these calls to make, a number of different suppliers to sort of speak to, and it will be a very sort of worrying time for you. But please, from our perspective, we only still want to make your day happen. We still want to create the story that you asked us to create in the first place. That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
And we want to manage that as best we can in this crazy time.
We've never, no one's really ever had to deal with this sort of thing before. So, you know, everybody's kind of just trying to work the way through it the best they can. We've already had a couple of people this morning, you know, we want to share it with, we've already had a couple of people this morning that have rearranged.
Yeah.
So they've rearranged their wedding. They've not cancelled it. They've not like, there's no major drama. And that's actually the good reason to tell you that, is because they've managed to rearrange their weddings for acceptable dates. We've said we can do those dates, no problem. Mm-hmm. They've managed to contact all their suppliers and they've managed to get their venue to give them a different date. Yeah. And they've only started doing that this morning, and by the end of the morning they've managed to get that done. So please don't panic about it. You'll get it sorted, and we just want to help you get there. So please just get in touch with us. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what your sort of your plan is, and we want to try and help us best way we can and work through it together.
Yeah, we'll look forward to speaking to you soon.
All right,
Thanks
take care,
lot.
guys.
Take
Cheers.
care.